And welcome to the Tony Scott Internet Show. Yeah, man, hope your weekend was good. Mine was great. Worked, made some money, spent some time with the family. Actually, I had lunch with I love having lunch with my wife. Just her and I were able to talk about stuff. We don't do it often, but when we can, it's always a great conversation and some pretty good food. So thanks so much to my wife. Love you. So how's it going in your world, man? I had a great event Friday night, Tony Scott Live. I did the podcast live from Kathy's Kitchen in Ferguson, which is a great restaurant. Good people. Kathy and Jerome Jenkins are the owners, and they made me feel welcome. And everybody who came out, thank you so much. JP actually put it together. Tristan Loggins was the technical guy. There were a bunch of other people who helped out. And I met some people who've been supporters of mine for a long time. Some I met before, some I had not seen in a while, and I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. So let's see what's going on. So apparently, some professional athletes wore T-shirts that said, "I can't breathe," which were apparently Eric Garner's last words that he repeated 11 times to New York police when he died in a chokehold situation. And, of course, we all found out last week that the police officer, the grand jury, would not indict him. I think there needs to be like some kind of special grand jury that looks at police-involved shootings or situations where someone was seriously injured or shot. Because the grand jury, who is traditionally known to indict a ham sandwich, as it said, for some reason really will not indict police, with few exceptions. There was a situation in South Carolina where a police officer was charged. He was indicted, I believe, for the killing of an unarmed black man. His lawyer says it's because of the temperature of the country that this man was indicted, which is true if you put aside the fact that he actually shot the man who was not armed. You put that aside, and he's probably right. But you can't put that aside, can you? No. Derrick Rose of the Chicago Bulls wore a I Can't Breathe t-shirt during warm-ups, and Chicago sports radio host Dan Bernstein decided to go on Twitter and criticize Derrick Rose, saying in one tweet, "I just wish @DRose could talk or really understands what he's doing. I don't think he does, but he deserves to be treated as if so." He also tweets, "It's this. If @DRose, Derrick Rose, felt strongly and deeply enough to make that statement, he should be able to say why. We can only hope, but I doubt." Okay, Dan Bernstein, you're a person who probably had somewhat of a privileged life. Well, let me just say, the mere fact that you're white has given you a privileged life. And if you don't understand that, then it goes to your arrogance. Because if Derrick Rose understands nothing, being a man who grew up on the south side of Chicago, he does understand police violence. If he understands nothing else in the world, he understands not only police violence, but just violence, period. Something, Dan Bernstein, you probably do not know as you sit in your soundproof room at the radio station and make these tweets. Yes, I make my living in a radio station too, in a soundproof studio, but my eyes are open. And I understand that there's always another side. There's always people who are going to have a different experience from me. Now, I've never been beaten by the police. I've been harassed by the police based on the color of my skin, going back to when I was 17 years old. So I get that. Does it make me bitter towards the police? No, my experience have not made me bitter towards the police. It does give you an understanding, though, that I don't have the same experience that you, Dan Bernstein, have. I'm not allowed to have that same experience. You cannot understand that because that is not your reality. You don't have to worry about that. I have to live that life, and many people of color have to live that life of being stopped. And if if you just happen to be going through what's considered a white area of town, a predominantly white suburb, you would not understand how it is for a person of color to have to drive through there going 30 miles an hour in a 30-mile-an-hour zone driving a car that you feel pretty good about because, one, you decided this is what you wanted and you could afford it. And you're making the notes and you're paying your insurance and you're taking care of the maintenance. So you're feeling pretty good about yourself, and you get pulled over because you're just driving a nice car. That happens in this country. You don't have to worry about that, Dan Bernstein. It's not your life. It's not your reality. And the worst thing you can do, Dan Bernstein, is not understand that not everybody's life is like yours. That's really what you have to understand. And to not understand that, to criticize Derrick Rose's intelligence, saying, I'm not sure he understands what he's saying by wearing this T-shirt. I'm not sure even if he understood it, he could say it, is both racist, it's an insult to Derrick Rose, and it shows just how unintelligent you are when it comes to life. Oh, you may know sports. I'll never question you there because I don't know what you do. But based on your statements there, it's a pretty safe jump, pretty safe leap to make that you don't know squat when it comes to anything outside of your white privilege life. Of course, in Seattle, an officer is said to have responded to a domestic violence call at a house. Now, domestic violence situations where the police get involved is always dangerous, tricky, whatever, because you go in there most times to save the woman. There are times when the man needs saving, but more times than not, the police go in to try and help the woman. And then sometimes the woman turns on the cop. Don't touch my man. Don't arrest my man. So that the police hate domestic violence calls. I've been told that over and over again by police officers. But in Seattle, a domestic violence call at a house, a woman was handcuffed and arrested after her involvement in the dispute. She got put in the back seat of the car. Now, the arresting officer claims that the woman kicked him and he punched her in the face and he cracked like her orbital socket. I mean, he whopped her pretty good. No criminal charges. Because he said that she kicked him. And he punched her in the face. You see, and to me, you took this job. But being a police officer, let me just say this from the jump, is not an easy job. It's a tough job. That's a tough gig, man. That's a hard job. You get criticized. You very seldom get any love. You put yourself, or you get called into situations that are so unpredictable. It's unrealistic to think that a police officer can go through an entire career these days without being accused of anything ever. I mean, I'm just being real. It happens. But you also signed up for this job. Nobody made you take this job. And with that job comes incredible responsibility. You have to have an unimaginable amount of restraint. And if you don't have that, you probably should not be applying for the job. When you're a police officer, you're going to be put in situations where you wish you could just, take someone out and, not take them and kill them, but just take someone out and really air them out. Not physically, but sometimes just verbally. And it happens more times than we think. And let's not be fooled. Police do, like I said, they do an incredible job. Police officers are great. But there's that small percentage, and I've been saying this for a while. Someone told me last week they think police officers should undergo psych evaluations once or twice a year, which I think is a great idea because for someone who suffers from mental health issues, I'm convinced that most of the world has some sort of mental health issue. Police officers are under an incredible amount of strain. For them to be psych evaluated twice a year would be a great idea, but the problem is who's going to pay for that? That's not cheap. That's pretty expensive. This cop in Seattle is going to get away for cracking a woman's orbital socket. You know how hard you got to hit someone to crack their orbital socket? Do you know how crazy that is? That makes no sense at all on how this guy is not even going to be charged. But it's where we are now, right? It's where we are. BET is going to do a show called BET News Presents a Conversation with President Barack Obama. And I believe it airs. Does it air tonight at 5 o'clock Central Time, 6 o'clock on the East Coast? Jeff Johnson's going to talk to the president. And on the table for discussion will be Michael Brown, Eric Garner, Tamir Rice. Those conversations will be on the table. It'll be the first time President Obama has weighed in on the recent deaths of black men at the hands of white police officers. He's going to go, I mean, he's talked about it, but he's going to go, my understanding is pretty far in it than he has before. He's spoken at press conferences and things like that. So that's something actually to look forward to tonight, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock Central Time. A recent Facebook post referencing the death of Tamir Rice has resulted in an apology from the St. Louis County Police Department. Did you hear about this? Chief John Belmer wrote the apology in response to criticism over the post, which implied that Tamir Rice's behavior may have contributed to his death at the hands of a rookie Cleveland police officer. Just how wrong is that statement? Chief Belmer wrote, I apologize to Tamir's family and anyone who was offended by the post. I was unaware of its presence prior to its release. I realized the message was insensitive to Tamir's family and the sorrow they are currently experiencing. Now, Chief Belmar didn't write the post. The post was entitled Kids Will Be Kids. It was on the Facebook page of the St. Louis County Police Department City of Fenton Precinct. Fenton, if you don't know, is a suburb of St. Louis. For those who are listening in the St. Louis, for those who are listening in the St. Louis area, it's on the south side of St. Louis County. It is mostly white. It's not uncommon for black folks to be chased out of there at nighttime. It's got that reputation. Okay. It's the post that is kind of, well, it's typical of, I would say, law enforcement on that side of town. I hate to say that. Aaron Dilks is the person who wrote the post, and he said his goal was to encourage conversation between parents and kids about playing with realistic-looking pellet guns. But the insensitivity of the post is what the chief of police is apologizing for. You know, let's be clear that it was a little disturbing to see a kid in a park waving a gun around by himself and pointing it at people. Is he the first kid who's ever done that? No. No, he's not. You know, but the police action in this, it makes you question, you know, I mean, we saw the video. Everybody saw the video. The police pull up, and between 2 and 5 seconds later, that boy's dead. I mean, that cop came out blazing and shot that boy dead. And then we found out last week that when this police officer, Timothy Loman, his previous job at a police department, he should have never been a cop. I mean, there was a memo that went out at his last police gig that says this dude should not ever even have a gun. Okay? This is how bad. No, he should not be a cop. And a week later after that memo came out, the Timothy Loman actually resigned from that police department, but got hired in Cleveland to be a cop. Someone who should not even handle a gun. Now, I'll say this. We live in a world now. When I was a kid, you could have a toy gun. It was no big deal. Some of them used to fire those little rubber darts. Remember that? But, you know, technology not being what it is now, you know, those guns, those toy guns, they look like toy guns. None of them really look real. It was cheap plastic. You could spot it a mile away. These days, it doesn't really happen. These guns are pretty realistic. My thing would be this, because usually some of those guns, they put an orange like ring around them that's removable. That's the problem, right? They're removable. If I had my way, if we had to have toy guns, they would have to be painted a color. Of course, people could paint over them, but they'd have to be sold in the store. They'd have to be like bright orange or green or something like that. I mean, you know, theoretically, they could be painted a darker color. So maybe we should not sell toy guns anymore. The world has changed. You know, long time ago, you could advertise cigarettes on TV. You can't do that anymore. Haven't been able to advertise cigarettes on TV in a very long time. So things that have been traditional in this country have been known to go away. You know, and maybe it's time that we need to get toy guns out of stores, because if this is going to happen, and trust me, this will happen again, then maybe we need to stop. I mean, it's crazy. Crazy. Columbus Short, who played Harrison on Scandal, his soon-to-be ex-wife has been charged for beating up a woman she thought was having an affair with Columbus Short. You know what? These two, Columbus Short and his wife, they just need to be. I mean, when he comes to get the kids, they need to, someone else needs to take the kids so he can, have them for the weekend or the week or whatever, because these two kids, they can't get out of their own way. They can't, they're just, okay. The ex-wife wants a divorce because apparently he's a womanizer, allegedly. And he's laid hands on her. And it just makes no sense at all. Columbus gets arrested, bails out. His friend goes to pick him up from his home the next day. His wife sees the woman in the house and then starts beating on her. Rather than breaking up the fight, Columbus Short decides he's going to videotape it. So the LA City attorney sees that and he says, hey, that's good enough for me. Charge the wife. The woman suffered a cervical sprain, multiple contusions, a lumbar sprain, two different things there, and a concussion. So Columbus Short, he decides to videotape his soon-to-be ex-wife beating up a woman that came and picked him up. Don't know if that's his girlfriend. I don't know. It doesn't matter. You don't put hands on anybody like that. You don't put hands on people. Well, she shouldn't have been at the house. Crap. That's crap. In a civilized world, in a grown-up world, we don't do those things to each other, man. I mean, who doesn't understand that? Who doesn't get that, man? You put your hands on someone, there's a consequence to pay. They may get revenge on you, beat you up, or worse, or you're going to get arrested. That's just how it is. Who doesn't get that? But my ass. But nothing. You put your hands on somebody, there's a price to pay. End of story. That's it. There's no more to that. There's nothing else to talk about. I mean, come on. Who just does not understand? You got to be a special kind of stupid. Yeah, I'm saying it. You're a special kind of stupid if you think there are no consequences to putting your hands on someone in a violent manner. Unless you're a cop. I saw this. This is 28 internet acronyms that every parent should know. You know, when you're a parent, the worst thing that ever happened to a parent was the internet, because in texting and things like that, because, man, these kids come up with things. All right, so get your pen and paper out, unless you're driving. And here are some acronyms that we, as parents, we need to know about. Okay? IWSN. Do you know what IWSN is? I want sex now. Here's one for parents of daughters. GNOC. Do you know what GNOC is? GNOC is get naked on camera. NIFOC. NIFOC. Naked in front of computer. If you see PIR, that means you've been spotted. Parent in room. CU46. CU46 is CU for sex. CU for sex. CU46. Get it? How about 53X? If you write down 53X, you could see where that would kind of look like sex. 53X. 9 means parent watching. I don't know, but just so you know, 9 is parent watching. which is a cousin of PIR, parent in room. 99 is code for parent gone. 1174 apostrophe. 1174 apostrophe party meeting place. I don't get that one at all. We all know what thought is, right? T-H-O-T, that hoe over there. T-H-O-T, that hoe over there. Huggy Lowdown on the Tom Joyner Morning Show said his favorite charity is Toys for Thoughts. I just thought that was so stupid. CID, acid, the drug. So if you see CID, the initial CID, that apparently means acid, a drug. You really need to pay attention to that one. If someone says they're broken in a text, that means they're hungover from alcohol. 420 means marijuana. POS, I thought that meant piece of shiggity, but apparently it's parent over shoulder. Sugar pic is a suggestive or erotic photo. KOTL, kiss on the lips. If someone texts your child and you don't know them and you see LMIRL, let's meet in real life. PRON, P-R-O-N, is an acronym for porn. TDTM is an acronym for talk dirty to me. 8, the number 8, just that one digit, 8, is an acronym for oral sex. I don't understand what that, I have no idea why 8 is an acronym, means oral sex. I'm slow though, so. CD9, parents around. Code 9, right? Parents are around. CD9, code 9. IPN, IPN means I'm posting naked. LH6, let's have sex. LH6. WTTP is not a radio or TV station. WTTP means want to trade pictures? Aha. How about DOC? No, not the rapper. DOC, drug of choice. Something we hope that not only that our kids don't, anybody we love, or not even strangers, we don't want to TWD, which is texting while driving. GYPO. GYPO is an acronym for get your pants off. KPC. Do you know what KPC means? Keeping parents clueless. Did you get all these? All right, rewind this and listen to this part of the show, because this is information that you need to know as a parent. These kids have these things memorized. They got it down pat, man. They do. These kids are on a whole nother level, so they know what all this stuff means, and it's committed to memory, so they don't need charts and graphs. You and I, we need charts and graphs. I'm just saying. All right, I'll leave it right here today. I appreciate you listening. We got a late start today, but we're out, we're up, we're gone. I appreciate you listening, sharing, downloading. You can check it out on TonyScottMedia.com. Just look at the Tony Scott Internet Show, little box, bottom right-hand side. You get all the shows there, but appreciate it. Like I said, any support you can give me as far as sharing is so appreciated, all right? Have a great day. And I'll talk to you. Oh, by the way, mugs. I'm selling mugs. Can I mug you for the holidays? Makes a great stocking stuffer. They used to say that about me back in the day. Huh? What? What happened? No, stop. But you can get your mugs at unheardmedia.biz. B-I-Z. Unheardmedia.biz. Just click the shopping tab at the top and mug somebody for the holidays by sending them a Tony Scott Media mug. Thank you so much. God bless you all. I'll talk to you tomorrow.